Alright guys, welcome back to Formula 1 drama. Lewis Hamilton firing a warning at Red Bull and his competition for next season, suggesting that as soon as Mercedes give him the car, he's still here, he's still the driver he knows he can be, and he'll take it straight back to the top. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. A fantastic race, of course, at Kota yesterday. This was a nice battle towards the end here between Leclerc, Max Verstappen himself, and Lewis Hamilton in the forefront of the shot when he led a fair few laps before Verstappen got him right towards the ends. Quick update on the Porsche situation. This is a rumor coming out from Ziggo Sports. Some people say they're kind of like the Sun for the Netherlands, I think. So maybe don't take this, too seriously. But Porsche, of course, we thought, where are they going to go? Are they going to come in with Red Bull? Now, Red Bull denied that in the end and wanted to keep their independence. So apparently they still want to partner up with some other Formula 1 team and are in discussions with closing a deal with Williams and becoming their engine manufacturer from 2026. So let's stay tuned for that one. This is far from guaranteed, but it's a rumor that's going around right now that Williams Porsche could be an arrangement for 2026 and beyond when the new engine regulations come into play. Verstappen had a kind of poetic victory in a way because Dietrich Mateschitz, of course, passed away that weekend, and that they wrapped up the Constructors' Championship for Red Bull, their first one since 2013, and their first of the turbo hybrid era after 8 in a row, of course, recently for the Mercedes camp. And just to mention a few key points of this race, so, Verstappen obviously was leading off the line. Hamilton gets himself into P2 relatively quickly, and on those mediums was not really able to hold on to the pace, right? Verstappen was pulling away, managing his gap as well, I think, but got up to about a good, 4-5 second gap by the time the first pit stops came around. Then Hamilton ended up in P2 again. He was doing a pretty good job defending from Perez, and then, of course, the safety car happened to change things around. The second set of pit stops, though, was more interesting, because after the safety car, they were all on the hard tyre, and Verstappen was kind of struggling with some drivability. He wasn't seemingly so confident on that particular tyre, and Hamilton did a good job keeping up the pace. Obviously, they was losing so much time, Mercedes, on the straights, because, it's an absolute tractor in a straight line, to be honest, and they were probably losing a good 4/10 a lap, I would say, on just the straights. That's not even counting the DRS effect that was, of course, in effect towards the end of the race. But on the hards, Hamilton was able to keep the gap at about 2 seconds, even got it down at one point to about 1.5, and then, of course, Hamilton comes into the pits, tries to do the undercut. Verstappen responds immediately, but then has the horrible pit stop that puts him behind Leclerc. Then he has to fight his way back, eventually gets past Leclerc, gets past Hamilton as well towards the end. I was quite impressed, though, the fact that the Mercedes was actually able to cling on to the Red Bull. I thought by the time that Verstappen got past, it was see you later, sunshine. And in fairness, it kind of was. Hamilton was obviously pushing incredibly hard on those tyres to try and keep ahead of Max. In the end, it wasn't quite enough, but he still managed to maintain in the DRS range for a good 2-3 laps before he had a lock-up, and then he went 1.1 seconds behind, and that was it for his challenge, and he had to kind of slow down to make sure his tyres didn't completely explode by the time they got to the finish line. But it was a more promising race for Mercedes than I think they've seen for a long time, outside of a Zandvoort and stuff like this, a track that suited them massively. This is a circuit which is probably quite good for Mercedes, but given the straight lines, they do lose an awful lot of time in the straight. And Hamilton did believe the victory was on for a time, but as soon as Verstappen got past Leclerc, made a nice little switchback move, Leclerc did, but then it was close enough for Verstappen to just dominate him on the straight, and then there was really no hope for Hamilton to hold off Verstappen as soon as he got within a second. It's just crazy because, obviously the Red Bull can pretty much keep up with the Mercedes in the corners, but then on the straight line, he just gained so much time that, the move that he made on Hamilton to actually lead, he was 9/10 back after the corner, I think maybe 8.5 tenths, made up all that time on the straight. I'm sure Hamilton was thinking, okay, so far back, he's not going to be able to send it. I thought he was going to get close, but Verstappen was just full commitment. He could have even, Verstappen didn't even need to make the move there, but he was like, you know what, I don't care. I'm just going so much faster than this guy. I'm just going to send it down the inside. Hamilton tried to fight it back, but in the end, it was not quite enough, but it's still P2, good result for Hamilton and the team. And obviously, despite the upgrade, which has clearly worked, it's not putting themselves in position yet to really challenge for a victory on pure pace. Even with Verstappen having the dodgy pit stop, losing about a good probably 10 seconds or so, still ended up winning the race by about 5 seconds. So the pace deficit is clearly still there, especially on circuits with any sort of straight lines, but still, they are confident going into next year that these problems can be resolved. And if they are, then they believe they'll be in a good position yet again. So Toto Wolff was actually very confident, I thought, and upbeat after this result, was happy with Hamilton getting that P2 at the end of the race, and was like, look, we were racing for a win, we were in the fight, it was they were in the race for the victory. Hamilton was holding the gap at about 3 seconds for a little bit, and then, Verstappen just brought in those medium tyres. I think also the question was, why wouldn't why didn't they put Hamilton on the mediums? But Toto Wolff said in this interview that they just didn't have enough left. They had no more new medium set of tyres. Otherwise, they would have done. But even then, right, would he been able to hold him off? I highly doubt it. And the hards went away from him at the end because he was pushing so hard. The mediums would have probably burnt up if Hamilton was pushing as he was to try and stay ahead of Verstappen. But Toto Wolff here was actually quite confident for their potential even at Mexico, despite the fact that it has a mega straight. There is quite a lot of twists and turns, so there's a decent chance Mercedes could be okay around Mexico, but still most of the races to the end of the season won't suit their car as well as a track like Zandvoort might have. And even Hamilton kind of doubled down and said, you know what, he gave it his best, he was really pushing out there and trying, but he said the key thing that he's taken away is that, like, look, he still knows he's got it within himself, he's still got what it takes, and if they give him the car, he's going to take it back to the top.
I think we understand more now what it is where we got it wrong with the car. We can almost trace it back to a single decision last October.
Which was?
Well, we thought we can run the car on the deck, but you can't. So it's small little hamster steps that as long as the trajectory is going up, even with little backlashes, I think we're in a good path.
He came from so far back on the straight. I think they're a lot, like 10k faster than us normally on the straight anyways. So, and at the end of the straight, my mirrors are vibrating so much I couldn't see where he was, so it's difficult to defend.
It's been unimaginable at some points this season that you could be leading a race and actually battling for second in the constructors. So how much would it mean to the team if you could get that?
I mean, I don't know. I can't put in words how much it would mean to the team, especially with everything that's going on, everything that's happened in the last race last year, then what's happened this year in terms of our performance, and then what's happened with all the news and everything. So, I mean, to get a win would be a huge triumph for us all and hugely rewarding. But I think today, what I'll take for today is that we had good pace. I'm still here. And I know that when they build the car, I will take it to the top. So we just got to keep working.
So quite fiery words from Hamilton in a way, I thought, right, pretty much outright saying, like, look, I've still got what it takes. And I honestly think, like, watching Hamilton and Verstappen fight it out, especially yesterday and even a few races ago, it's pretty clear to me that those are still the top two drivers on the grid as it stands. And look, if Hamilton has a car, I really hope Mercedes' car is decent, because otherwise I don't really have much faith in Ferrari actually, being able to put up a challenge to Verstappen next year, because the Red, of course, they're going to go into next season as massive favourites to go for the back-to-back-to-back from Verstappen's perspective, and Ferrari might have a good race car next year. Maybe it's going to be better in the race than it was this season, but still, from factors outside of the pure racetrack, like pit stops and strategy and the like, it really is Mercedes that have the best team, I think, to put up a fight against Red Bull. And Verstappen's going to be really tough to stop in any circumstance, but Mercedes are going to try and make a better car, and Hamilton says, look, give me a better car and I'll put it straight back to the top of the podium. So intrigued to your thoughts on that, and there was some confidence, right? The fact that they were able to keep up with Verstappen in the kind of second stint there on those harder compound tyres after the first and second safety cars. It was pretty good for Mercedes and Hamilton, but once again, the key weakness really being the straight line speed. I mean, they're already about a good 10 kph faster, Red Bull, than Mercedes, and that's no DRS even involved. With DRS, you're probably looking at maybe 35 kph faster, reckons Hamilton, and he says that even when he's got DRS, he's only like 22 kph faster, so that's a big differential. And we saw what happened, right, when he was 8.5 tenths behind and got him down into turn 11. Like, the Mercedes, even when Hamilton was in DRS, I'm pretty sure it was a similar situation. Hamilton was maybe 6 or 7 tenths behind going into that long straight, ended the straight maybe 3 or 4 tenths behind. Like, he gained really not much time at all compared to what Verstappen is able to gain. So that's the thing, really, that Red Bull, the slipperiness in a straight line has been such an important factor for them this season. And it means that once they make an overtake, they're basically impossible to repass. Like, there's no way you're going to re-overtake Verstappen, because, like, how are you meant to get past it? So it seems like the confidence in a victory this season has kind of come to a close for Mercedes, right? Hamilton saying it's going to take a real miracle or something drastic to happen for them to win. It seemed like yesterday might have been their chance with the pit stop going wrong for Verstappen, a very rare occurrence, and you thought, well, maybe this is it, right, for Hamilton to get the victory, but in the end, Verstappen and Red Bull just far too much pace, certainly in the straight line. And there are circuits like Mexico with a massive straight, and even Brazil's got a pretty long straight, and Abu Dhabi for sure. So, maybe not the best circuit circuits in Mercedes to close out the season. But look, and Hamilton's looking forward to next year, knows that he's done his bit this season to try and put themselves in the best position they can. And obviously these upgrades are working. It's just a few key tweaks with next year's car that maybe will put their car back on par. That's what Hamilton wants to see. But he believes that if he gets the car, then he'll be able to deliver the results. And just the other points quickly on what Toto Wolff had to say on the car itself. He reckons that, we talked the other day, I think, about this single decision last October, that they made the wrong call on the way they went with their car and that affected their entire season. Apparently that was involved in running the car very low. They thought they could run the car really low. Turns out you can't with the suspension and stuff. And that one decision affected their entire season. And if they can fix the straight line speed, then maybe we won't be in a Max Verstappen era of dominance, because it certainly looks like we're going that way at the moment. Even Charles Leclerc said, I hope not. I'll do everything for it not to happen. So, look, we need a good Ferrari team. We need a good Mercedes team next season to put up what hopefully can be a proper 3-team fight for the championship, because it's maybe leaning that way. But Red Bull this season, after what was a promising start from Ferrari, just absolutely destroyed everyone. And we can see that by the point standings on screen right now. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.